we invested in these kids from scratch. So we don't poach players. We don't look at other people's players. We develop from internally and then get them to a level where they can go trial for Western Province, where they can go trial for national honors in the future. So it's about preparation.
Welcome to the GenC podcast. I'm one of your hosts, JP Jackson.
What was Rachel's storybook voice was that now? I'm one of your hosts. To the audio listeners, it's me, Rizzo, Riza, Big Rosie. Big Rosie. I'm just debuting nicknames. Big Rosie is crazy. Well, that's in the middle actually is someone who I actually see as senpai. Wow. Yeah, my first team basketball captain. Big sensei coach Ashwin Adams. Welcome to the GenC podcast.
Good morning, gents. Good morning, gents. Good morning, gents. I'm Ashwin Adams, coach of the Amazonians Rugby Academy. I'm definitely the normal one on the channel. Like Jurgen Klopp would say, the normal one. The normal one. Thank you for having us.
This one came through early with the local jargon.
Because it is unchoose violence today. He arrived with the red that is not the right red.
Yeah, I'm quite used to it, because my dad is actually a Manchester United fan. My middle brother is a Manchester United fan. So the war goes on in the house. Yeah. My eldest brother is Liverpool and myself, obviously. So that rivalry is big.
50-50 split.
How does
down
that
the
happen
middle.
though?
And then my mom, her deciding vote is she supports Brentford. It used to be Middlesbrough back in the day, like when Viduka was still playing for Middlesbrough. So when they got relegated and stuff. Viduka. So I'm talking about back in the day. Yeah. So she was a big Middlesbrough fan, and then obviously now she's a Brentford fan. She likes the way they play and stuff like that. The coach, very good coach there as well. So,
but wait, just to answer the last question, how does it happen that you grew up in one house and you support another team?
Yeah, so obviously, if I have to go, my eldest brother, I think he came out the womb supporting Liverpool, supporting Liverpool, die-hard Liverpool fan. And then for myself, when you're younger, your dad picks your team. So I was by default a Manchester United fan when I was younger, very young. And then I think about grade 5, we moved to Belleville. And then that's around the time of Champions League, Gerrard, Istanbul. And then my best friend was on primary school at the new school. Jade was his family, dad, family. Everyone was big Liverpool fans. And then obviously you spend a lot of time with him. And then that's how I became a Liverpool fan. By choice, by choice.
Okay. Look, I respect it.
Rizan, did you choose your team?
I think so. I'd like to believe I had a choice in this because my favorite player was Ryan Giggs. That's like
quality.
That was my favorite player growing up. My eldest brother supports Liverpool. So I'm very happy for him. I told Ashwin he can have a victory lap.
Yes.
Because Liverpool's now the most successful club in English football history.
Yes.
And so we just have to we have to learn humility. Like we can't learn humility now. Aren't we like 17th?
We're competing with Tottenham.
We're never gonna learn humility. You know what I'm saying? So to get to the actual reason why you've actually given us the answer already, but like again for our viewers, who is Ashwin Adams?
Right, I'm someone that grew up in Bridgetown in Athlone. So I'm from the southern suburbs where the best food is from. So proudly. He's proudly. Proudly. So I'm from the southern suburbs, and then we moved to Belleville when I was 10 or 11 years old. I think about grade 5. Just for better opportunities. You know how it goes in the south. Gangsterism, all of those things. Opportunities aren't really there for our kids. I've seen a lot of it change as well. But going back, my whole family still lives there. Like in the southern suburbs. Granny, before she passed away, auntie, uncle. We actually grew up in one road, all over the cousins. Like even our cousins that lived in Bontewell, they came to school in Bridgetown. So granny's house in the morning, stuff like that. So that's where we grew up. And then 20 years in Belleville now. 22 years in Belleville now. So I've been blessed to see both sides. I've been blessed to see northern suburbs and southern suburbs. And in a full circle moment, I'm actually coaching rugby at the girls' school in the southern suburbs. So I get to go back there, just have a throwback feel. I played rugby for Perseverance back in the day. Perseverance. And there was,
so familiar.
I think it's either Nova Park or Menenberg. I could be corrected, but it's in one of those areas. That was my first under 7 Carlfoot rugby. And used to play at the old Greenpoint Stadium that time, every Saturday. So there used to be a president there. I think he was from Netherlands or something. Used to come fetch us, me and my mom, every Saturday morning. Used to go play at the old Greenpoint. And that's where my rugby journey started, like 6-7 years old. So that's where I'm originally from. Ice cold. If you're kicking to poles, you wear that one sock. I know the guys know about that one sock we wear just for extra grip.
I actually always wondered what was the colored version. Because like in Namibia, I grew up in Namibia. And when you were young and you played barefoot, they would call it choker rugby. But like now you're Carlfoot rugby. The colored version.
Yeah, definitely.
Say that name again. What rugby?
Choker.
Choker.
Love it.
Sounds like you're playing soccer. Soccer rugby.
We actually have another member in the studio today. We're not going to show you this for the audio listeners. He's Ashwin's co-coach, if you will, of Dylan. Morning.
I'm still waking up.
We get to you before practice. Lock in, boys. I was gonna say, so JP, so you played primary school rugby. Our primary school was sponsored by Dunes. So they used to call us the Brood School.
Yes. And because I played in the front row, I was like the representation. I was literally, because when you're in primary school, you must in the front and the back. They pay double sponsorship.
Alright, so because when you said Perseverance now, I thought about my days playing soccer when I was younger. So I used to play like football for like club in Elsis River, and I used to do that whole where you drive all the way to Ballard to play. I think it's Ballard Spurs.
Ballard Spurs,
and then it was
I think Bellstar is the other name.
Okay, like that, and then there was like this team called Trinitarians.
Top team. Everybody knows Trini's. Like Trini's was, I think they're still a top football team. They play in good leagues and stuff like that. So Trini's has a good rep in Cape Town football. Yeah.
And then when we were like, if you were good in that particular, then you play the likes of Vasco and Ajax and stuff like that. So we were just like a league below.
Hey yo.
Yeah, so I played for Belleville City as well. So what used to footy. Yeah. So what happened was after the rugby games, and Coach Clive used to come fetch me directly after the rugby game to go play for Belleville City. So my best friend Jay, he's played for Belleville City for many years. He was like captain of Belleville City now before he stopped playing. So Uncle Clive used to come fetch me after, and then going into high school, like under 15 after Settlers games. Uncle Clive used to be waiting there. Go play some Belleville City.
So you love both sides.
Yeah.
Soccer life and rugby.
And basketball also was a big part of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I think I achieved more in basketball, if I have to be fair, than I ever did in rugby. And even in football. Like I used to play football for the fitness because the 90-minute fitness compared to rugby, it's different. So when you go play rugby, fitness-wise, you are on a different level. Yeah. So our school didn't always play in a good league. Like we didn't play in the top league.
Yeah.
Because you must remember the top league for us back when I was in high school, like your top league is your Marvin Oris, your Evan Etzebeth, Sia Colisi's. Those guys were in my year. So Cheslin Colby, those guys, they were already ranked top players. So our school didn't play in a league like that, but we knew that there's other sports out there for us. You have to try stuff like that. So I actually doubled down on the basketball here.
So I remember Our school, the Settlers, by the way, just get it out there. Get it.
Yeah.
It's a community.
At this point, the headmaster must probably send us.
It must sponsor us.
Yeah.
We
They
must have
must.
the 3 shops here.
It's a community.
So, because I remember we played top schools hockey. So there we were playing against Bosch, Bishops, Sachs, and the like. But our rugby, we weren't playing top school rugby. And I'm curious as to like why that is. Is it in an investment thing? Is it a because I
Coach DP?
no sorry what I mean is our players, our athletes were good enough to make top league and stay in the top league for
Other
basketball
sports,
and you know what I'm saying. So what is it about?
Isn't it just a culture thing?
Is it a culture thing?
No, it's so
Like a
remember,
rugby culture.
It's also there's facilities and there's certain sort of like so those schools go to like F teams. At a normal co-ed school, we only have 2, maybe 3. So you actually can't go.
I'm realizing now you say like up 80.
So
Yes.
like they go, and that's not just like under 19. That's,
That's
under
under
14.
for every
So,
6-7 teams,
in order for you to play in that, you must be able to service the entire school on
and
the
invest
day.
in that as well because these schools nowadays, gym facilities, best coaches, coaches that came from maybe playing at the highest level, coming back into school program, and then we look at our traditional schools, our Paul schools.
Yeah.
The investment is crazy. I know Stellenberg is also investing. Southern Suburbs is also doing well, like Rondebosch, Weinberg, schools like that. But it comes down to investment and also a culture thing. Like we played and we thought like, okay, first team, second team. Like we're good enough to play first, the second team. And then you go for trials. And then
you see.
And then you see there's a team with Warwick Galant is playing fullback, Craig Berry is playing fullback, and then you come maybe from a Super B, Super C league, like at school level. Then like, nah, what are the chances? What are the chances? But I remember when I started in grade 8, there was Mone Joster that made it into like the SA under 20 team.
Yeah.
And Keegan Petersen went on to play for Marties and stuff like that. So that's big inspiration. So for me, not so much in my rugby career, but in my basketball career at a young age, I used it as motivation because I was like, there is 5 Western Province hockey girls and boys in every age group.
Yeah.
And there's no basketball representation like Western Province because at the time the culture for basketball wasn't there. The rugby was always, I would say we were fairly good. We competed well, but it comes down to investment because at the end of the day, these schools invest a lot of money into their programs and they sustain it over the years. So you know when you come to a top school, this is the benchmark. This is what's required of you.
So I know you didn't come here for the basketball, but I really do want to stay there. Because I do feel like as we have such great athletes in South Africa, right? It's always that simple case of, are we just not giving them the platform? Or what is it that we feel that basketball needs in South Africa to kind of spark that growth?
I feel like if you go into who's playing basketball, like the teams that are playing basketball, the teams that are invested in basketball, those are the people you need to keep close. Those are the people that you need to invest in because remember who we played against when I was under 14 was Montevideo Primary School.
Montana.
Best Mr. What's his name? Craig. The best basketball facility I saw, not as facilities, but as these kids' development.
Like infrastructure and stuff. Okay.
So go back to those kids, build them a basketball court, build them facilities, give them the opportunity to go play on a national level one day. Because we were in grade 8, 14 years old. And those under 13s, grade 7s, were better than us.
Oh, yeah.
Because they play basketball from a very young age. I think it's Mr. Daniels. So Mr. Daniels invest in those kids. So to grow the game of basketball, why don't you go back to those communities that are playing basketball? Because when we were in high school, it was the best basketball school for us to play against. Think about it. It wasn't a posh school. Wasn't school with money. You know the Southern Suburb schools were good.
Heiderveld.
It was Heiderveld. And for me, it's still Heiderveld because that is their culture. But give back to these people. Like invest in them, build facilities. Like the wooden courts, something about the wooden courts in America, I think it's a requirement there. And here by us, how much wooden courts do we have?
Mm.
And how much are they building?
And I think the reason why I'm asking now is because, especially now, we're in that intersect, man, where the NBA is looking for new markets, right? And they're investing in Africa and in the NBL and stuff like that. But it's almost like we see that happening, but we're not jumping for it, man. We're not putting all the things ready so that when they say, give us the green light, we already have 10 teams ready to go, locked in. And then that counter exchange of learning from each other on how to grow the game will just set us up, because we know we have amazing athletes in Africa.
Yeah.
They tall, they strong,
They fast.
You get you have all the ability here. But to your point, it's infrastructure.
Yeah, we need to go to the
invest.
top. We need to work from our top and then work all the way down to grassroots. Because even for myself as a coach, I want to coach grassroots development. So nobody can come and say, we develop these kids. You understand? So that's why I prefer development. Like if your kid can't pass a rugby ball, but she's quick and she wants to try out, come have a session with us. Because I want to coach development. I want to be the one that says, myself and Dylan, we invested in these kids from scratch. So we don't poach players. We don't look at other people's players. We develop from internally and then get them to a level where they can go trial for Western Province, where they can go trial for national honors in the future. So it's about preparation as well. But going back to the basketball thing, we have a very good league in Cape Town. I'm not in the basketball scene anymore, but I know we have a very good league in Cape Town. They're very competitive. A lot of our Western Province players, they did make it to nationals when I was still in the basketball scene when I was younger, because they were good enough. And it was these kids from Eiderveld. And I think I was the only one from Settlers at the time that played Western Province basketball. So just making the effort even to get to practice, stuff like that, comes from the parents as well. So the parents need to hold the higher ups accountable. Why are you not investing in our kids?
Yeah.
We know it's the athletics also. Like I don't understand why don't we have 4 athletes in every race? Why don't we have athletes on the higher level? Like that's something we need to ask the higher ups, like the people that's in charge of sport, our ministers, our people that have that, what you call it, portfolio with him. So we have to ask these people, when is it filtering down and how is it filtering down so we can get involved?
I think there was people asking these questions recently. Like I don't know, I saw on social media, like I don't know, like some.
No, I think people are having conversations, but I think but I do think the right people need to hear it. They need to see it, because again, it changes people's lives.
Wow.
And it's not something you have to pay for in terms of your ability and wanting to work hard. That's all on you. And you can change a family, a community's life by just having that. And I think because of the skills you learn, I think sometimes we say that, we must, just like you can do sport if you want to, sort of thing. Whereas I think I'm the person that I am because I did sport. Wow. I went to go and practice. I went to do certain things. The discipline that you have to do that task at that moment, focus entirely on that thing, is something that you can replicate in any part of your life, not just in sport. And I think that's the kind of things that we need to invest in our people in that you have the ability to do that. Yes, sometimes you don't get the opportunity, but I promise you the skills you learn with trying is going to set you up for success regardless.
Yeah, even on that topic as well, you also have to sacrifice a certain part, make yourself available for practice, come ready to learn. Because even myself, like I ask a lot of questions and I allow our kids to ask us a lot of questions. Hold us accountable. Is coach actually practicing what he preaches? Did he actually apply this? So I often remind my girls of our sacrifices as well. Because for me, I was the first one in my family to matriculate.
Wow.
Like in the whole family, out of all of the cousins. I was the first one to go to university and drop out. But just putting myself on a level where I got the opportunity to go. These are stuff we want to instill in our kids, because a lot of our kids, we are busy with a girls' academy right now, but we coach boys before. We have kids all over. Okay, we have boys and girls all over. We had 2 girls play varsity cup this year. Like that's our first Amazonians that actually went to university, and one of them actually captained the Boland under 18 team last year. So we're trying to make it a universal thing. It's not just about our kids. It's about kids that want to come into our structure and learn and get the development that they need, because I would be a little bit disappointed if 99% of our kids don't make it to university because of the work that we put in. Your schoolwork comes first. And that comes from watching movies.
I was going to say Coach
what's the other one? Remember the Titans, Denzel Washington. It comes from watching movies like that and growing up with movies like that. That inspires you as well. If you don't have inspiration at home.
So let's speak about the Amazonians. How did it start? What made you say, this is what we're going to do? We're going back to Dylan.
So I was working at the school, and there was no sports program. And the principal at the time wasn't very supportive. So I felt that it was a need at the school, And then I was initially going to start with the boys, actually. And then it was during the time of this whole gender-based violence thing. So I was just rolling with this wave. And we started as a football team, actually. And then once the girls played during break, and the boys were like making fun of them, so I saw it clicked, because I didn't really grow up with the whole gender-based violence thing. To be honest, I was playing in the road, dishing out flying kicks. You didn't pay attention to anything like that. But then I saw it for myself, and I was like, you know what, this is a need. To make a point. And I was also raised by a single mother, so it felt like my obligation, So I committed to them. I put the boys on a ban for a bit, but then they continued doing it. So I was like, I'm gonna last these guys. And then we played football. We were actually very good. We only lost 1 match, actually. But I told the girls, I can only take you so far. I haven't played a real football match in my life, but I know rugby. And then they looked at me, and I was like, okay, there's interest. And we switched over. I think only 1 didn't come over to rugby. And then in our first year, we managed to get 8 girls into the Western Province team. But what I had to do is I had to find a loophole, because I couldn't call it the school's name. The principal didn't approve. So I was like, you know what? We're going to call ourselves the Amazonians. And then, I got the backing from Western Province. I sent them an email. And then we were able to play. And then in our first year, we actually won the Cape Flat Sevens, which was in Athlone, a huge tournament. So it was the inaugural, and we were the inaugural champions. So I took flight from there. And at the moment, we have the number is 42 provincial players within a 4-year span, and 2 national youth squad players. So it's been quite great.
Oh yeah,
when you started that, not to when did you start it together, or did Dylan just run with it?
Okay, initially Dylan started at the school before me. I joined him like a year later, and I was actually working in a warehouse. I wasn't even. I did all my coaching. I did my level 1 coaching. I had it there. It was just simmering there. I wasn't using it. I did all the World Rugby certificates. It was just chilling there. I was working at the warehouse. I was a supervisor, a stockroom supervisor. And then one day Dylan gave me a call. And then he was like, are you still into the rugby stuff, or do you want to come help me coach and stuff like that? And then I also joined the school. That was a year later. And then I think by December, we went to go win Neisner Sevens tournament. So in the same year. That was in the same year. Yeah. And then now I think we're going on our 3rd year as Amazonians, but 4th year as Amazonians, but we've been coaching for a very long time.
Okay.
This
is definition of supercalits.
We have to eat the supercalits.
Easter egg. And so this run of, what I appreciate is that the reason or the pursuit of this is to empower women. What I'm gleaning from this is to give them a platform to like, strengthen young women in our communities, in our country. And then as a consequence, you just develop winners.
Yeah, I think success comes with it, man. You know for a fact, me since I was very young. I had a very bad temper when I was younger. So I can't say I always treated people the way I was supposed to. But I had a very strict mom as well. Old school.
Yeah.
Belt. Throw you with anything they can find.
Yo,
Old school mom.
That sound you.
So I realized I always wanted to help people, but I realized like through sport, like I can't help people if I have a bad temper or if I'm someone that's angry all the time. I was a very angry youth. I don't know why, but it also fueled me to be successful in basketball, to play first team rugby for our school, to play club. It fueled me, but that's not the person I wanted to be. I actually wanted to help people. Because when I saw, I'm the first one in my family to go to university. Let's leave the dropped out part. But when I saw that, then I saw it's possible for other people. So we want to raise student athletes. We want the girls to have very good marks, just in case rugby doesn't work out. Remember, the Springboks can only choose 23 girls. Western Province can only choose 23 girls. So after school, what happens to you if you are just focused on your sport? Because for me also, I was just focused on my sport. I didn't care about my marks. I didn't care about teachers. And I didn't have a good relationship with them. But then through sport was my way of, I'm going to shut them up. Okay. I'm going to make Western Province. What's after Western Province? I'm going to travel for the Western Cape team. I don't care where practice is. I will take a taxi to get there. But that was just younger Ashwin. Like upset, angry, using it as fuel. Now I'm way more chilled. I live a way more private life. Social media, I'm not too much on social media, but I like to post positive stuff for kids, and I like to post positive stuff to show that my parents are definitely on board and they supported me a lot. And I can say it's because of my mom that I changed who I was from. A lot of people judge you on when you were younger, but after school they can't say the same thing because I haven't spent enough time with you.
But to that point, we have lots of people that are like that, right? You have tension as a youth. You have all this emotion and you don't know how to channel it sometimes. And then we give you a label. Oh no, you're just that guy that fights, or you're just that guy that does this. For you, what was the switch that made you convert that energy into something?
I think I was about 16 or 17 years old, and I had a very good basketball coach, Mrs. De Lange. Very good basketball coach, and that lady never gave up on me. I think I was 14. I never played basketball before in my life. Grade 8, young, skinny, came to trial for basketball. I think she saw that dog in me, that fight in me. And I must say, that was a white lady, never judged me. But it was our own people that would label you. You just know that. You just know fighting, stuff like that. So Mrs. De Lange was the one that believed in me from 14, 15 years old. And then I thought like, nah, man, I'm good at this basketball thing. Let me take it further. I knew I was a decent rugby player. Okay, I used to mold my game around Geo Uplon, Scrum Cap. And that was
a Power Ranger.
Yeah, Power Ranger. So I used to mold my game around Geo Uplon. But growing up, my dad used to travel a lot. My dad used to be in England 9 months, 10 months of the year. So I actually grew up supporting England. Like Jason Robinson.
Hey.
So
I
he
knew
was
you didn't
England.
support Africa. I just didn't know which country it was.
No, I do.
Straight All Blacks.
Yeah, sorry for the accusation.
I'm a
Western
big South African fan, but in my younger days, I was an England fan because of my dad always being there. So your phone calls would come from England.
Okay.
The content that you would get, your kid, whatever your dad brought was from England. So automatically it registers with you. So Jason Robinson, before Geo Upland got on the scene, that was the fullback. I used to play fullback in high school. So that was the fullback I molded. I actually met him in London.
Wow.
Like a full circle moment.
That's crazy.
I was geeked out. You can ask Dylan. I was geeked out. I couldn't believe it because somehow the universe manifested that's going to happen. Because just before I left, I posted about being the first person like to go
Okay.
coach overseas, take a team overseas with our kids. A lot of our kids, the first trip, first in their family. So it sets a precedent. Got there, and then Jason Robinson was passing balls there at the. It's like this booth thing. So you get 3 opportunities to pass a ball. I was geeked out. I couldn't believe it. Like I thought I was going to faint because this is like your football. Lionel Messi or Ronaldo.
Yeah.
That is my Lionel Messi or Ronaldo. And then I got to meet him, had a good conversation with him. So that's just what sport has done for me, and the doors it's opened for me, and it's doors that I will continue opening for kids.
Awesome as fuck. I want to say 2 things. The first thing I want to say is that and maybe you can respond to this as well, is that when you play sport, when you play sport, there's a fraternity, there's a brotherhood, and the relation that you have in practice in the field creates a different character profile for the person. Because I'm realizing now, Ashwin was a stout gat in high school, but I hold you in such high regard. I like you, like you was honestly, we made province because Ashwin made province. Myself, Lawrence, Daniel made province because Ashwin made province. He literally, he set the table for us. So that's how we really look up to you. And I'll never forget something you said to me in practice. And I can't remember if you said this while I was still on the team with you or when you came back in coaching a few years later. You said, listen, practice how you play. So that when you play, it feels like a practice.
Yeah. I still have the same precedent now. We are very tough on these kids, but it comes from a place of love because we know what's out there. So we know that the level is very high. And I'm telling you, there is some good rugby clubs out there. There's some good rugby academies and stuff like that. So we don't want to fall short. And I think it was definitely something I said as a coach.
Yeah, okay.
because as a player, I was horrible.
No, you were my captain.
I was a very, I have to say this, I was a very lead from the front captain, but I was horrible to play with because of that temper and because of I hated losing.
Okay.
I hated losing. So I remember one day, we have stories, but I remember one day I was so in the zone. And I think we were playing against Pinelands or something. One of the Pinelands was a top school because Pinelands and Heidelveld, they play basketball the whole year. We play basketball term 1,
Seasonal,
term 1 and term 4 and then regular seasonal. They played basketball the whole year. But I knew, listen, we have a proper team here. Man. We have a proper team. We can compete. I think we placed 3rd in top schools one year. But that's when top schools just started. I was about to leave school. So you are definitely on the team. But I remember one day, I was so tripped out because someone didn't do what they were supposed to do on the field. Like on the court. And I blew my gasket. Like I tripped on this person. And then this boy was bigger than me. Physically bigger than someone that jumped. And I tripped out. And then I had a conversation with the coach. And then she was like, Ashwin, you're my captain, you're my leader. Like, I can't have you do this. That was probably my worst moment in high school, but it was a reason. You were there.
Yeah, in his defense. I know exactly the game he's talking about. I want to also just say that it's one of those things where Ashwin at his best is the kind of player that you want on the team, man. Because he's going to run through a wall, he's going to live and die for you. He's a very Russell Westbrook kind of player.
I was going to say.
That Pinelands team had 2 man who was with leg sleeves and headbands. And they playing street ball. I will never forget, minute time, they call 1 minute, then they start dribbling. I'm seeing Ashwin is raging on the court. So I'll never forget. That is the first time I experienced that type of I guess you can call that gamesmanship, where you playing to win, they playing for a crowd, they playing for other reasons. And
wasn't gonna fly.
He wasn't gonna have that. So he was really stripping.
I wasn't even upset at our guys, man. But I remember that game was actually closer than we thought it was.
Yeah.
And we had, I'm just gonna say it, we had a bang average team. Honest, bang. Compared to Pinelands, compared to Heidelveld, those guys had 2, 3, 4 Western Province players in the team.
Yeah.
That I remember Mikhail, the 1 year went to go play SA for SA schools. Like that was the level they were on. And I was just coming into Western Province and just coming into Western Cape basketball. And then Pinelands was like the benchmark for me. Like I dislike losing against them. I don't even use, like in my adult life, I don't use the word hate. I think it's a very powerful word, but I really dislike losing against Pinelands. So
your team had dog.
Yeah, there was definitely that aspect also. And then this Lighty was just taking the Mickey there, playing around with the ball, and I couldn't take it. And I got so upset. I actually remember this game because he did it once. They went to go score. The second time he did it, I actually stole the ball, went to go do a layup, and that was like 2 points in the game. Like I won't forget it. And for Pinelands to be so close to actually, Pinelands, I know Sax was very good, Bishops, DSK.
It was not good.
But DSK was massive. You know how big those guys were?
Yeah, but they were not good. Nah.
So those are the people we used to play against. But I think Aidafeld will always.
I think DSK subscribers now.
It's a German school. We can lose.
But they were massive. They were massive. They were big human beings.
The other thing I wanted to sort of ask you about is, so because I remember you went to go study at, is it ETA?
It was UWC. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Because I remember you came with this ETA booklet.
I think that was
the sports college.
That was something I studied through the sports college. Yeah. That college SA stuff. So that was the curriculum was from ETA. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my question basically is, because it's obvious, it's evident you live and breathe sports. It's not just rugby. It's not just footy. It's sports. You are an athlete through and through. Was that like a natural, I must work in sports?
I would say coming from where you come from, like growing up, you play everything. You play everything in the streets. Cricket, it's football. So I was the only one that played rugby in our community because it was a football community, and we played baseball also. Like T-ball, not baseball, T-ball at the time. On the stand, you hit the ball and you run. So I was very fast when I was younger. One of my friends came and his dad came like, Ashwin, come try T-ball. I was like, okay, what must I do? So you just hit the ball off the tee and you run. Like I was good at that. And then it was Athlone Athletics at the time. I think they moved to next to Vanguard Mall now. But that time it used to be in Belgravia.
Okay.
So I used to play T-ball. I used to play rugby. I used to play soccer. And then I did athletics as well. So like I used to run in the district as well. So I was always playing all sports, but I think rugby was still my main sport until I got to high school, where I saw like basketball is like, I went further in basketball and it's like, okay, now I'm a dual sport athlete. And it's not just for the school, because after school, you know, at Settlers, you stay there late. If you're a sports person, you don't see your house before 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. So my dad always used to work, like he always used to be on the road. It's like, okay, Ashwin, I'm in Woeston. I'm like, okay, how much hours can I get in until my dad gets here? Stuff like that. So a lot of training on your own as well. And then it was always sport for me. I'm talking about 5, 6 years old. When they ask you, when the grade 1 teacher asks you, what do you want to be? I want to be a policeman. I want to be a firefighter. So it was either firefighter, and then I said I want to be a rugby coach in England.
Wow.
Because my dad was working in England at the time.
Sword your first.
So that's where it comes from. That's like an origin story. It comes from my dad's travels and stuff like that.
That's a great segue to the fact that you now took this girls Amazonian Rugby Club to the tournament in England. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Okay, so Rosslyn Park is the biggest 7 schools tournament in the world. Youth event in the world. There's 124 schools.
144.
That's why Dylan's here. Live fact check.
Yeah. So the fact check. So
sorry, Ashley. Just tell us about Rosslyn Park.
Tell us.
Now, so it's a very old competition. It started. I don't know when it started, but I know it's very old. Like a lot of players come through the Rosslyn Park Sevens. This year it was 244 schools. We were the only African team. I think we're the first girls African team to compete there. The schools that have been there before, I believe Bishops has been there, Rondebosch, and I think Grey. But it's competitive, like it's extremely competitive. And I've never, when we got there, that was, I still have the video. We got there, we thought we were like at the full event, because I've never seen like a field with 30 rugby fields.
Sure.
But we weren't
Wait.
done. And then I was
Wait.
like, and then they're like, no, you have to go to section B, I think. I'm like, section B? Then there's another like 15 fields. And then there's a section A with another 10 fields. I told this man, where are we? It's
crazy.
Is
Yeah.
huge. And there's rugby fields everywhere. So you'll see like poles opposite each other, like this way. And then next to it's this way. And then that side is like this way. And this way. It's everywhere. And every field has a team playing.
Wow.
So it's crazy. It's very, very, very big. We also played against like professional. We played against the Harlequins Academy in the semi-final. Yeah, and Saracens was there as well. So you can know if you got teams like that involved, it's prestigious. It's the biggest youth event in the world. They said.
Sure.
So now you can carry on.
Yeah, so Rosslyn Park for us, if something is an idea, we try to make it happen. As soon as there's a sniff of you can do this, you can make it possible, we on it, because for us also it's a major opportunity as coaches as well to go showcase what we've been teaching these kids and to be competitive and to win a plate final and just in your first year. So the one game, we played 9 games. The one game that we lost was the cup finalist. And the unfortunate part is those girls were in 3 cup finals in a row.
Sure.
So they've been there before. They're very experienced.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately they were in our group. So our first group game that we lost early in the morning, we're always losing this group game at every tournament. And it was to our detriment in England, because there if you lose a game, straight into the plate.
Oh.
And then those were the finalists of the cup final. So for us it was they won it as well, yeah. So it was a bitter pill to swallow, but a big learning curve and a big opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
I can imagine like seeing that level of just people, the spectacle and stuff. Can you speak to what was your team's like experience? Were they super nervous? Were they excited? Or how did they feel?
I think that game specifically, they were. One started crying before the kickoff. That was. I can imagine. It's intimidating. You're not at home in this new territory. There's all these people around. So it was quite intimidating. And now you're playing the finalists of the year before and before.
Okay.
So they felt it. They definitely felt it. But I think we call it the defrosting stage. Especially for that first games in tournaments. But once they get into the swing of it, then they're unstoppable.
Guys. Because I'm getting giddy, man. Because I'm thinking that type of trial by fire, that type of heartbreak is just gonna lead to so much amazing things. Because that's the origin story.
Yeah.
That's your team's origin story, and like I'm excited to see where Amazonian rugby goes from.
Yeah, I think that is a good origin story. We would love to return to that tournament next year, and then obviously open the world to our kids. That is what we're trying to do. Like we have a child playing under 18 Springbok youth. She made a team for the under 18 youth team for the Springboks, and that kid is from Wallisden.
Wow. Okay.
And she is one of the smartest people I've ever seen. I'm talking about the report card, like genius level. So her schoolwork will always take preference, but if she happens to make it, she's going to be a very smart Springbok one day.
Yeah.
So that is just one example. We have kids from all over. Delft, Wallisden, Kraaifontein. We have a girl playing for us from Kommetjie. Ocean View. So something we doing as coaches, we're doing it right, because these kids are attracted to our development. They are attracted to our product. They are attracted to our coaching style. And we can just say it's been successful.
Yeah.
We brought the Fair Play Award.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about that one.
Okay, so my understanding is there is people walking around this 60, 70 fields.
Bonnet fields.
Watching the game, stuff like, I'll say like scouts. Watching the game. And then the one I spoke to, she gave this to us because every time someone got hurt or someone went off the field and they went to the medics, we would actually send our kids to go check up on them and stuff like that. So that is the Fair Play Award. That is why we received the Fair Play Award. So we know rugby is a brutal sport, but we also know your safety is very important. So one of our kids actually tackled someone, injured a rugby incident. After the game, we sent him to the medic tent, and they were like, "Nah, we've never seen something like that before."
Okay.
So that's where the Fair Play Award comes in.
Yeah, that's amazing. But rugby does have that duality where you like arch enemies. I mean, most sports do, but arch enemies inside the lines. And as soon as that whistle goes, you become pure class.
Yeah, I think that's where you can channel your energy, like your frustrations and stuff like that. Once you get off, you become the public person you are.
Yeah.
So it's like I call it, I'm a Liverpool fan, so Jurgen Klopp used to call it mentality monsters. The year they won the league, the COVID league. Okay, so they call them mentality monsters. So it's something I instill in our kids also. Their mentality is very important. And sometimes you have to take the emotion out of it in order to perform. So once you step off the field, you can go back into your friendly mode, your shy mode. But on the field, you have a job to do, and that's where the professional part comes in. You have to be professional on the field.
Yeah.
So are we ready to switch over? Okay, cool. So we actually asked our audience on social media a question on Instagram, and some of the responses that we got. So the question was, what's a sports term or jargon that you use in like everyday conversations? Stuff like, maybe nah, that's offside. Or like, what's the ref for this? We need a VAR check on this. And someone actually, oh, never mind. It's not someone, it's loud. We need a
stealing one.
Yeah. Like, so actually, like one that I know, for example, you definitely say is timeout. Timeout. So someone said, like when you mess up, they say that's but I scored an own goal there. Or that's podium. Something that's not the best but worth a shout out. That's interesting. That's a quite one.
I've never used that.
That's a quite one. It's Mickey. Right, Mickey, back to the sunburn for you. Imagine you could send like some people just to the sunburn. It's like in the regular life. You actually work in a man. And you go to the sunburn. Just take a time out. And then
I give cards in my life.
Actually.
Yeah, like yellow. That's a yellow card offense.
Yeah.
One more. Then we know what's. Yeah, but that's also giving daddy energy, like because I'm a father now, so like he needs a timeout now and then.
Can I just say, no, there's a moose, a cat in your yard. I was like, why is there a jaguar? Jaguar, a cow, maybe.
This is why they think there's animals walking out.
Lion. If you're watching,
think I saw a lion now.
Actually, do you use any terms in your regular life?
His regular life esports.
Yeah, so you have to be very PG when you're working with kids. So like you can't swear much and stuff like that. But there's a word that my mom always uses, man. My mom is a big Stormers fan. So there used to be a guy that played for the Stormers, but it looked like he was running in slow motion. But then my mom would say, kijk, hy is dilly. Like, what? It's just a word she made up. So I advise my kids not to be dilly. Because
the player?
I can't name the player. For rugby coaching opportunities, I can't name the player. But he was a foreigner that played for Western Province back in the day, man, at Newlands still.
The Kalavuki.
JP, bro.
I'm not gonna confirm it.
That's the smartest thing. That's the smartest thing.
I'm not gonna confirm it. But that was the word that always stuck with me. Like she used to call it Dali. He's playing Dali rugby. What? So that's the one term that I would use.
Trying to get your colored parents to say a Fijian surname.
Never. But they do definitely set the benchmark when they are top level athletes.
Athletes.
That again, I think it comes down to investment.
Yeah, even though it was Tali, the hand, you can still remember.
Physicality.
He used to just run with the ball in one hand,
yeah.
one hand, and you tackle
But
all
are they
you
known
tackle
for
all
just-
other parts, and then he just.
Yeah.
Are they just known for being built different also?
So they are. It's genetics, yes,
Yeah.
but the conditions in Fiji is so like it's very wet and like hot.
yeah.
So the ball handling skills is just phenomenal because
Okay.
So you
they just
learn
end
from a
up
young
it's
age, yeah.
sticking to your hand just because you've been it's wet otherwise.
Because I remember once in Namibia where I grew up, they had like an international sevens tournament. And obviously all these teams were practicing and we would go watch them practice. And when the Fijian team came, those guys are just, they built different.
Yeah,
That's genetics. Yeah, that's why we have to play such a different game compared to them.
Yeah.
Like our guys are smaller on the smaller side, but skills are
Yeah.
on a different level. Like often I think like when we see, I think Selvin David's about my height, Ronnie, those guys, they're not the biggest, but skills wise and conditioning. So our facilities are good to condition these guys to play against Fiji.
Yeah.
and
But
New
you can
Zealand.
see when they play against Fiji, because when you play other sides, our tactic is to dominate physically. But in Fiji, our tactic is to stay in the lanes.
Yeah, but that's
Stay in
just
the
a,
passing
that's just a
lanes.
blend that we have.
Yeah.
I think we are so multicultural and
Yeah.
so good at different things that our balance is there.
Yeah. But Ashwin, we also like to play a game on the show, right? It's a game that you're pretty well known for now at this stage.
Okay.
It's a series of hypothetical questions, and the game we like to call Say My Now. Have you played Say My Now before?
I've seen it.
So, Say My Now. Society resets to 0. You are one of the only people with modern knowledge. What do you teach first?
Yeah, that's a sick question.
Give me a minute to think about this one.
Okay, it's a bit conceited because, like, what do I know? but
No, but just like
no,
everything.
No, genuinely. I think I would genuinely teach, like, not to be airy-flairy, ethics and equality.
Okay.
Because before society get a chance to set in racism and tribalism
Oh,
and
that's a great
and
answer.
patriarchy.
Yeah.
I just want to teach equality and how all of us are capable and our differences make us unique and we can add to the story and stuff like that. And find other ways to sort of like drive success and stuff like that as opposed to like hatred and fuel and stuff like that. So that's something that I would teach, ethics and
love
equality.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to like the Gimba in me. The person that like loves food. I think I'm gonna teach people how to sustain themselves, like how to make food.
Yeah.
Like how to hunt and stuff like that because they would eat.
Yeah.
They would eat.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, there was a guy on a podcast that was talking about what would happen if you're on an island. And I was like, what? This man is gonna eat his dog. Out of all the stuff you can go. And they asked him like, if it's just you and I think it was him and his dog and what he said on the first day. I'm eating my dog on the first day. I was like, what? So if I can teach him to go and catch fish, then they go do it or something
And
else.
that's actually wow.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
Because you
So
can
that's just-
use your dog to hunt.
Yeah.
It's one of the few
So
like
hunting
reasons
is
in Islam
important,
that you can actually have a dog for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be my answer. I teach people how to sustain themselves. Go hunt, go catch a fish instead of eating your dog. or something.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Definitely.
I would teach respect, similar to your lines, in that as soon as you start respecting the person that is in front of you as they are, you can build anything on top of that. Don't try and now override based on what you believe. So I would teach respect to try and pick that one up.
Wait, Dylan, what will you
Dylan,
teach?
what do
Rugby.
That was actually essentially, if I had the knowledge, I don't have the knowledge, but I would teach them anything really to self-sustain. You know, I think government is good and government is bad, but if people can have a choice, a real choice, you know, they say we have a choice, but so if you can, for example, this whole Orania thing, but I'm opening up. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
I have no
Okay.
problem with people being.
Because it's their choice.
It's their choice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd like to give people a choice.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I don't know if
And
you're
writing
setting it up
apologies,
for
yeah.
failure,
Yeah,
but
and
do you
writing
mind
apologies.
reading?
Hopefully you can read it.
Hopefully,
Some of you are not doctors. Eh?
It was early. It was early Sunday morning, bro.
we know it's Rizan's handwriting.
Show him quickly.
You can actually read it if you,
You can
want
read it
to.
first.
At the bottom.
We can both answer, yeah.
Say me now, you could coach any team in the world. Which team would it be? Yeah.
There's a simple answer and then there's a not so simple answer.
Give us both.
Give us
Yes,
both.
man.
On
Okay.
default.
Yeah.
Amazonian.
On default, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we must have 3 choices.
Okay.
If we could coach any team in the world, Amazonians on default
Yeah.
for the rest of our lives for 100 years.
Yeah.
Set up our own club, set
Yeah.
up our own whatever
Yeah.
facilities, have our own field. That's on default. Childhood Ashwin, England, definitely. England.
Yeah.
And then obviously going to England and seeing the culture there, it's massive. And then to coach probably the women's Springboks one day. Just based off from my grassroots experience,
Yeah.
what we can add as coaches
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
So I think it would be that 3 year.
I don't need to coach anybody. I'm just there to watch. If I had to choose, it would be the Stormers. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be my one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Oi.
going to be tough for
Oi.
Rizan because he's also
I switched my brain. I
multi-sports,
switched my
Yeah.
brain off a bit. Because that's
Yeah.
multiple sports.
that's
Charles
incredible.
design. Do you also need layers?
So I actually coached athletics. So I coached long jump. In high school, I was grade 11. and
Pre
I
or
was
post PT shorts?
during.
I was going to say that's
during the
prime
PT shorts.
yeah, prime PT shorts. Yeah.
90% leg.
Sure, bro. He's violated. He's getting me today. So I think I'd want to be a part of some South African athletics team.
Okay.
To take an athlete to
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
because I feel like if you win an Olympics sport, that's you are stamped into history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
your country, you are just.
And right now is a good time for that. Because didn't the men win now the other night? The
They're doing
diamond?
well.
Yeah,
The relays.
relay.
That was
They-
the world
I can't
relays, yeah.
listen.
They killed it,
That
bro.
that guy's a generational talent. To do it for so long. I think he's the only athlete to run under 10 seconds, 10 consecutive years or something.
Wow.
That's a record that Usain Bolt actually had that he broke. And then Payanda coming up now, Walaza, that kid from Kuro, it's lightning. And there's a lot of them. So our relay team.
sports.
I love it. I'm getting geeked.
Yeah. So you have to be informational. You have to. You can't just be stuck in a rugby brain. You have to be informational.
Yeah.
And because I played so much sports, I follow a lot of sports. Yeah. LeBron James is out now, so I'm not watching the NBA anymore. I can't watch playoffs until the final without LeBron James. Yeah. So,
Interesting.
but yeah, our athletics are doing they're doing well.
Because what he was saying there, I need to sneeze, damn it. What he was saying there is that that's actually something why Michael Jordan was a little bit more successful than most of his contemporaries, because he was such an athlete.
Yeah.
He was so because then the training that you do for baseball is different to the training that you do for basketball. And they actually explain that college athletes, they are prime more for success because they play off season the way we used to play, where they play football or they do a track or they do, and then they have different ways of training, and then you learn different skills. You learn different modes and stuff like that. So that's coming back to my answer. I would want to coach football. I would want to coach football, and honestly,
Full circle moment for you, right?
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I genuinely, it doesn't even matter. I just want to. I wish in another life I could be a coach or be in sports.
Hey, yo. Titans, yeah, come.
United. It's just the United. It's just the United needs to
United
coach.
can't even afford to
I don't
pay
want
their staff
another-
for tickets to the Europa League final.
We don't
I
want
think that
another.
is ridiculous.
We don't want another 10 years of suffering.
So at the end of that's fine. At the end of the podcast, we like to give the guests an opportunity to do two things. So number one, I want you to just plug, promote any, you know, pages we should follow, any organization we should follow, like your team, any tournaments that's coming up that we should look out for, please do that. Go away. Tell us,
Okay, so our next tournament is the 14th of June. It's BTD. So
Be
Be the
difference.
difference. Yeah.
So that's Coach Grantham and his team over there. So we won that tournament 2 years in a row. So we're looking to make it 3 now this year. And it's a under 17 girls tournament, and then there's netball as well and boys rugby as well. So just before I plug us, I have to commend the work that BTD does as well, because we have one kid living in Wallerstein. They are feeding the community there. They are there every day. So you have to plug people like BTD that's doing the work in these communities. You have to plug the foundations that's in these communities. So BTD is something that we will always support, and we have good relationships with them as well. So BTD will be Youth Day, the 14th of June. We're looking to make it the 3-peat. So we're going there with a very strong team. And then for us, social media is just Amazonians Rugby Academy on all the platforms. That's TikTok, Insta, Facebook. Just go have a look there. If there's girls that want to come develop their rugby game with us, we can definitely plug that as well. And our record speaks for itself. So we are full on development. We don't want to take other people's players. We don't want to poach players. We don't want players that are fully developed in their rugby careers. We want people that come to learn. And then with them learning, have good relationships with the parents, because at the end of the day, the parents have the final say. What happens, where their kids play in the future, what happens to these kids, which universities they are going to. We can only facilitate them. We can only prepare them. So I would just say Amazonians Rugby Academy on all the social media platforms. And on YouTube, there's few games of us playing last year, stuff like that. Rosslyn Park is a long watch, but they highlighted that they made the 9 hours they made into separate videos. So go have a look at those games as well and see the level that the girls is on. Because when you come there, that is the level we expect you to end up with. We don't expect you to come in on that level, but it's how you walk out the door. Are you ready for varsity cup? Are you ready for club rugby? So
Okay, amazing. And then the second thing we like to do is provide a message to younger Ashwin.
To younger Ashwin, I would just say start sooner. Because I felt like I started a little bit too late, because I was even doubting am I going to become a rugby coach? I went to go work for 7 years in a warehouse. What if I started sooner? But I don't regret it. But that would be my message, just start sooner. And to all the kids out there, I would also say start sooner. If you have a talent, if you're good at ballet, double down on it. Let your parents support you from the get-go. So by the time you get to 20 years old, this is the difference between South Africa and more developed nations. If that kid is 4 years old and is good at backflips, by the time he's 18, he's going to be the best backflipper in the world. So I would encourage our parents, if your kid has a talent and it's a talent that you maybe don't support that kid. Because at the end of the day, the world will open up to them. If they don't make it one day, but by 18, you would know, I'm going to make it in ballet or in backflipping or in whatever you want to do. Because there's a stigma around certain sports, like rugby is the main sport. And then maybe I'm good at athletics, all of those things. I can play football at this level. But if you start supporting that kid at 5 years old, I promise you by the time he's 18, he's going to be ready for the professional world.
Yeah. And I mean, just from our side, thank you. Thank you for coming through. And if we are also able to assist in your growth and in anything that we can do to help you get where you want to be on this journey.
For girls to tell their story, to hear it from the players instead of the coaches. Let the girls give their experience. I think that gives a platform for them as well. I always feel like their voices need to be heard.
Yeah. Yeah. We can definitely do something.
Roadshow.
Roadshow.
If you want to have a roadshow.
But again, thank you for coming through.
So we are planning a lot of fundraisers for the month of June as well. So bring the crew.
Yeah.
I would say bring the crew, have a roadshow there, speak to the kids, because that's when they're going to be in their most comfortable element.
Space. Yeah.
Just don't speak to the parents.
That's
a different
like
podcast.
Share, subscribe, and we out. Peace.